This episode is sponsored by Audible. For a free 30-day trial and to receive a free audiobook, just head on over to audible.com/gamebreaker.
Gamebreaker TV.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to This Week in MMO, episode 167 for October 25th, 2013. You're watching Game Bodega. I'm Garrett again, and coming up on today's show, shockingly, we're going to talk about the Elder Scrolls Online and EverQuest next. Landmark, whatever you want to call it. We're also going to talk about EVE Valkyrie, DC Universe Online, maybe some DayZ, and $28,000 virtual swords. All that and more. But first, Mr. Jason Winter, how are you, sir?
I'm doing pretty well. I was a little worried that my new lighting setup would make me look too pale, but compared to the other people on the stream, not so much.
Yeah, you're looking kind of like you got a nice tan compared to what the F?
Come on, it's the TWIMMO before Halloween. How am I the only one dressed up? I had to do a little Kefka.
But wait, Halloween's on Thursday. Oh,
this is
Friday.
the last TWIMMO before it.
All right.
Bust out a little Kefka, Final Fantasy VI. Oh, yeah.
Bert apparently likes Halloween. He's going to be like, this is the 18th moon before Halloween under the sun.
Hey, we still have two shows together, one with you, Mr. Gannon, and one with you, Shaft, before Halloween, so who knows what's going to happen there.
I better have to dress up the game.
I've set the bar pretty high.
All right, now I've got to think about what I'm going to go as. All right.
Me too.
Yeah, you can't do the same thing every show, that's for sure.
I've got people who want me to dress up as Kitty Cat Katarina on the Halloween episode of Waypoint, so I'm...
Mike, just wear the dress. That's all you need. We'll be happy.
You should have just stopped that sentence at, I got people.
Yeah, I thought the same thing. Thank you, Gary.
If you just stopped it there, I would have been like, yeah, bro, my man's got people. Man's got Waypoint, he's got mass views, he's got people. But no, people that want you to dress up as Kitty Cat. Okay, moving on. Before we start talking about the Elder Scrolls Online this week, you guys cannot make it out to BlizzCon this year, which is coming up very, very, very soon. We are giving away a bunch of, I don't know how many we have, but a bunch of them. BlizzCon in a box. Come over to GameBreaker.tv, click on this little box right here to win. Take it to a page. BlizzCon in a box. What the F is that, right? You're wondering. Well, you get a virtual ticket, so you get to watch the HD stream of BlizzCon in all its glory. And there's a bunch of swag in the box. You get like thunder sticks, you get a bunch of stickers, kazoos, buttons, tattoos, papercraft, lanyards, dice bags, all kinds of shit to have a crazy LAN party.
I've got to say, if you can't attend BlizzCon, not everyone can attend BlizzCon. It's not cheap. I live in Los Angeles, and it's still going to cost me an arm and a leg to get down there, hotel, and ticket. I completely understand if people can't travel across the country or world to go to BlizzCon. And the virtual ticket is the next best thing that you can do, because the production that they put into it lets you see all of the really important panels and still kind of get the experience of the fun excitement of everything that's going on at BlizzCon. And the best part is you don't have to deal with smelly people. You always get a good seat. I can tell you, 2 years ago at BlizzCon, when they announced Mists of Pandaria, I was in like the far back right and just watching on the monitor in front of me. I wasn't even watching the stage. So you're getting the same experience that I am without the smelly people. So it's worth it.
It is worth it.
Go check it out. Go do it.
Go do it. It is worth it. It's a nice little box. Blizzard hooking us up with a bunch of these things. So go over there, and unfortunately, it's North American residents only. That is by the Blizz, because they got to send you the box. So, and also, for you guys wondering, we're asking for like your email, your street address, city, state, zip code in this giveaway. It's because of that. It's so we don't have to scramble once we get the winner to find out where you live, because the time constraints. We got to like get them to Blizzard so they can ship them to you immediately. So as soon as we have the winner, we have your name, your address, your street address, and Blizzard can send those off to you, and you can invite all your buddies over and roll dice and thunder sticks and whoop it up and dress like juggalos.
Maybe do some face painting.
Maybe.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe. All right, let's talk about it. So Zenimax answered more Elder Scrolls Online questions this week. First up, they shut down the idea of gear that improves over time. Now, I know a lot of you MMO players are going like, why is this a thing? Why would we be surprised at this? I have a feeling they're answering a lot of questions again from people who may be coming from like a console perspective, asking questions of, maybe not be MMO players. So they did have this today. They said, not right now. Part of the game is looking for new gear. If gear can grow with you or grow in power, that tends to shut down the desire to keep looking for new gear. Getting surprised and rewarded is a really good thing. Since character progression is more predictable, we leave the surprise to finding item drops. So, I don't know, anyone on this panel surprised?
Nope, not at all. It would have been kind of cool, though, from our side, right? As like MMO players, just that would be really cool. If, like, this gear, I could pick up things and evolve it as I go and assign experience and do all kinds. But no, it didn't surprise me.
Well, that's the thing. I think a lot of MMO players looked at this question. They were like, that's an odd question to be answering.
Right.
Like, that's just the way things happen. And it's like, but again, I think it's because they're answering they're getting questions from, a lot of different types of players, Elder Scrolls Online, just Elder Scrolls players, Skyrim players, things like that. And they have questions that we kind of, but good to know.
To be fair, the question came from a system that is going to do that in Elder Scrolls Online, your horse, where you can feed it and do different things to have it grow and get different traits. So I can raise mine slightly different from Shaftnet's. So the question was, based on that being a system in Elder Scrolls Online, are there other items that are going to do that same thing? Unfortunately, no.
And they do have that in Lord of the Rings Online, and pretty much everybody dislikes it roundly. Because it's either it's a grind to get the thing up, which you still wind up replacing every few levels, or there isn't that much of a variety at the end as much as you might think, because there's like 3 or 4 different parts that everybody wants in their stuff. So it is just that grind, and it's a lot of little tiny micromanagement. You get plus 5% on this and plus 2% on this. It's just something that isn't really popular in that game.
Next up, this totally intrigues my SWG side. Guilds that take over keeps will be able to set up guild stores in the keep. Players of the same alliance visiting that keep will be able to buy from that guild's store. Interesting. My first question, do we have any clarification whatsoever or any idea what kind of items can be sold here?
That's a big goose egg. I mean, to me, it kind of... Could you do this either way? If it has generic items in it, potions, bags, and things like that, then what's the benefit of it? And what makes it cool? But if it's got super rare things in it or things that are only obtainable from certain guilds, then how many of those items must exist for them to be unique items across all guilds? To me, I think it's got to be the middle road, and whatever your guild can craft.
That's what I think it needs to be. Like if it's all player generated stuff to sell, like that's what I'm hoping for. I'm hoping just not for some like NPC vendor who's stocked with certain items and it's more like a convenience of life sort of thing. Like, oh, you don't have to go back to the main town anymore to get like the stuff that you're normally running back and forth for. Now you've got this NPC standing there. I hope that's not all this is, because I think it'd be super cool if they allowed guilds to then pull their stuff in there, and then other guilds could come in the alliance and buy from them, and you'd have like a personal, maybe, so that you don't have one individual store per player, but you've got an individual store at least for your guild.
Yeah, and I think that's the best scenario, because the other two sides of that spectrum suck. One of them is everybody sells the same things, who cares? And the other spectrum is everybody sells super rare things that are exclusive to only their guild, which every guild has to have, so really they're not all that super rare. So I think it's got to sit right there with level up all the crafts if you want to be able to sell all the different items.
But how long can you, because we expect keeps to switch hands fairly often, how long does it have to remain in your possession for this to be worthwhile, to set up a store and everything? You look at a lot of games that have, this kind of three-way battlefields, then stuff just goes back and forth all the time.
a lot of people just find value, though, in a type of game where they can set up shop and be a crafter. A lot of people do enjoy that. I think the problem, though, becomes the nature of, as Burton was saying, the exclusivity with the content, because if by chance, like, it's tough, because unless you're going a very hardcore style route, which maybe the fans will get behind, I don't think that you can lock gear like that behind, because if you only have like, oh great, well, hey, we're the best guild in the world, guess what, we're able to sell, you know, the best sword that we've been able to find, come to our guild and purchase it, because we're the only people who can craft it together, because we're the only people who have the means to do so. Hardcore people like that mentality, but I don't think the masses that have grown into playing MMOs like that. They're the ones that have.
But I don't think that's saying that you can't, somebody else can't make that item, and it doesn't mean that you can't meet other players like who may be selling stuff in game for real. It just gives you some sort of persistent storefront. That's the way I would see it.
Which my question is, how persistent is it if the keep's going to be switching back and forth every half hour?
Well, that's what gives you the incentive to hold that keep. Like,
sure.
See, that's the thing is, that's why I'm a big fan of.
But
like,
I don't think
fan
that's
of being
the
able
case,
to hold.
Jason. Yeah, I think you're holding these keeps for a while based on another question we're going to talk about with the whole campaigns.
Mm-hmm.
You're keeping these for a while. The only thing that resets that fast is the scorecards.
So I don't see this as a thing of like, oh, only these guilds are going to be able to make this item. It's just going to be a nice perk for guilds to then keep and hold areas and have a personal storefront where, Mike, you and your shitty little guild might be able to make this sword, but then you might just be like, oh, I got to stand in the main. Yeah,
wait, which one of us is in the shitty guild?
I'll never tell. I'll never tell. I'll never tell.
They're the same shitty guild.
But you know, you might have to go to the main town and just kind of stand around and be like, hey, I've got sort of whatever to sell, you know, do you gotta buy it, and just kind of use that system. Whereas our guild might, you know, we've got the storefront. I don't know. I really like this idea. I really hope it's not just like some sort of NPC quality of life issue, which I don't think it's going to be from the sound of it. So let's talk about this. You mentioned campaigns. They said campaigns last for 3 months at a time. So you'll find yourself running into familiar faces during them. Also note that you won't get rotated out or switch to other campaigns unless you choose to. You'll be able to stay in the same campaign for the entire time your character exists if you want. I actually see that being quite popular. Then they go on to say, when a campaign ends, the only things that reset are the leaderboards and the score. I love this. Keeps, scroll ownership, emperor status, and where you are in the world don't get reset. It gives a sense of persistence when only the scoring mechanism is reset. So again, I think why Burn wanted to bring that up is that when these things reset, if you own that keep, you're still owning that keep after it resets. It doesn't matter. It's only doing a score thing. So huge incentive to keep persistence in the world here. I love the way this sounds so far. Now, how many of these things are there going to be, and all that kind of stuff is going to play into it?
How has this changed just your perspective on Elder Scrolls, Gary? Because you've kind of been like, yeah, we're watching it, we're keeping an eye on it.
Because now I'm starting to see some end game.
All this stuff that Gary Gannon would love.
Well, now I'm starting to see some player-driven end game. I'm starting to see, like, what am I going to do at like a max level with a group of people? Like, this sounds like something that's going to be very guild-orientated. I'm actually going to be playing with people, and we're going to have things in place. We always, you know, like Scott Hawks and I used to always talk about, like, you know, the lack of guild mechanics in games is just crazy at this point, where they don't create enough things that we play together. And this I could see if they build enough, you know, value in having these keeps and the stores and the NPCs and all these different kinds of things. I think it could make for some really great things and make for some epic battles, you know, because then if you give any group of players that they can keep some of this stuff, that's going to piss off a lot of other battles. That's what I'm hoping. Again, now it comes into how limited are they going to be? Are they going to be hard to get? Are they going to be easy to get? Because the easier they are to get, then the less it kind of makes it special. So I'm getting excited about it because, like I said, I'm starting to see like some sort of end game PvP, open worldy stuff that I really enjoy. That's my game more than rating.
It's going to all come down the way it always does to the incentive. Is it worth your time to try and take it over or not?
See, I'm talking to not from the sense of it being a 3-month thing, but in terms of just the general back and forth. You know, over the course of a day, how much are we going to be pushing back and forth on each other's keeps? are they going to switch, every other hour or so? And if so, is there really a point to setting up your shop and having all this unique stuff there?
Depends how they balance it. I would imagine something like this with if they're talking about campaigns lasting 3 months, I don't see keeps changing hands like on a daily basis.
But then does it get a little dull if you're not actually really feeling like you're making any progress as you go along?
No, because to me, I think that's going to create, for the type of player this is talking to, that takes like some real strategy meetings and kind of like gathering forces and alliances to make huge, big warring pushes on keeps that like actually have to be tactful and not just like, who's on right now? Let's go try and like bust this door down. I don't see it like, I don't know. I'm only guessing, but I'm wondering that it's not going to feel like WVDubs and Guild Wars 2 where you're just, it's circle the doors. All right, we got it. We're in. All right, it flipped.
Right.
Leave.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to be like that. If they do it like that, that doesn't have much appeal to me.
Carrie's like, if that's the way it is, I'm out. Forget it. All this good stuff I just said, go on.
Well, the fact that they're saying a campaign lasts 3 months makes me think that they're looking at this in a little. It's not as flip. It seems like maybe it'll flip every other week or a couple days or things like that, and that's okay. I think if it lasts
I think it's
a few
just
days
hard to keep people's attention for that long, though. If there's not something going on. If I log on and play for 6 hours or something and we don't do anything.
We did it for a year in Star Wars Galaxies.
Yeah, back in the old days, back when
we did it for a year.
We did it for like modem or something. This is 2013, man.
It was 3200, but we did it for a year.
Games,
we did it,
but they were so much different back then, though.
God!
No, because I'm playing the other side of this.
Listen to old man Shaft.
I'm playing the other side of this. Games were different back then. We were willing to spend hours upon hours doing that. We're not anymore. The whole mass population of MMO players are all about the gimme nows and the I don't want to work for it anymore. So, can it exist in the industry that exists right now? Because not saying it was better back then, but we don't play like that anymore.
I don't know. I want to see chat room. Throw up ones if you want this to be hard and like sort of persistent and not be flip flop back and forth. Throw up twos if you want sort of the really sort of what would you call it, Jason? Like how, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but how would you describe it?
Something that will actually sell copies.
Okay, that's what Jason says. His version, my version if you want one, Jason's version if you want two. Let's up.
Jason,
what you want is nice. What will sell could be something completely different.
Throw up a two if you want the ADHD version.
Look at that.
I'm not saying that's necessarily flip every 10 minutes, but I'm saying even if it is like 2 or 3 hours, is that long enough to set up your shop and have something meaningful come out of it?
No, it's not, which is why I don't think it's going to be like that. That would be ridiculous. If you could have a shop up for 3 hours, then this would just be ridiculous. Like they wouldn't even put the shop in. And then why would a campaign be 3 months? I don't see it happening like that. And I feel like I'm beating you by about 90%. That's my ballpark.
90% of the 1% of the hardcore audience that watches our shows.
They're the right ones.
99% of the casual people who don't watch these shows.
I don't care about them. I care about our people. These people know how to game. They know what's good for them.
Well, if you were making the Elder Scrolls Online, then you could care about them, but you're not.
Let's find an MMO that's really succeeded in the past 10 years besides WoW. Let's find one. All right, moving on.
Well, what? Oh, don't give me that. Everything's a failure, but WoW crap.
Go back to Lord of the Rings Online. All right, so
because more players than Star Wars Galaxies does.
That's true. It's shut down.
Shots are getting fired left and right here.
Ouch.
Yeah. When they talk about
the
Alliance
funny
BLGs,
it's not shots between Shaft and I. We're spectators for this one. It's really good being on this side, actually.
Do you guys think that, so with going back to that whole mechanic? Do you think it's going to be by faction based that they're talking about all this in relation to?
Yeah, I mean, I think they've made that clear that it's going to be the 3 factions fighting against each other. When they talk about campaigns, I guess and switching between them, I think we're talking about kind of like thinking to take Guild Wars 2 example, like being on the different world. They don't have servers necessarily, but they'll have different battles set up where there are the 3 different factions going at it. And I guess there's a way to switch between those.
I just hope those battles don't last more than 30 seconds because my attention span will drop. I'm out. So
Yeah, exactly.
I'd really like it if I could just click start and it would do it for me.
There you go.
That's what I want in my
next
Elder
step of
Scrolls. I don't want to
selling
actually
units.
play the damn thing. Just click.
Now, here's the other thing is we do know that there's going to be a way to experience other factions' content, right? That's pretty much confirmed that you're actually going to be able to play their other content. I wonder how that plays into it. So I guess it's just going to be on your main choice initially of how that may possibly work as far as what you're considered faction or alliance or whatever to actually use these the stores kind of thing. I don't know. I think this could potentially make the sort of like later game of Elder Scrolls Online to feel like a big battleground and have like a lot of persistence instead
it's
of.
It's not even later. You only need to be, I think, level 10 to get into that, and it auto scales you up. So I mean, you can do it almost right from the start.
Yay! A bolstering mechanic.
We saw how well that worked in Guild Wars.
Moving on. I don't want to talk about bolstering mechanics. Have we ever?
Wait, what's wrong with it in Guild Wars 2?
Oh no.
No, really. Go ahead. I want to hear this.
Hey, I'm not the Guild Wars 2 guy here. I said nothing about Guild Wars 2.
I'm not the biggest of Guild Wars 2 spokesman either. However, there's just the issue of sense of scale with what you're doing with your character, and by simply artificially inflating. And again, I know that this isn't necessarily the way that they're embracing this model here, but I felt with Guild Wars was that you kind of ruined the experience of leveling up, because ultimately for me, jumping into World vs. World was the same, or organized PvP and throwing everything at me made me going back down to a lower level kind of pointless, and why waste my time down there?
Okay.
And then
so yours wasn't so your point then wasn't so much that it ruined PvP, it ruined the other experience for you when you weren't in PvP.
Right.
Gotcha. Okay.
Lack
I think
of-
that's a fair statement then.
The lack of progression is what really got it for you, which I think that got a lot of players. That got a lot of, like, you know, I think the lack of progression, is that what you're really kind of referring to in general with Guild Wars 2? I mean, I think that was kind of like that move that ArenaNet made, that you're either going to love that aspect of it, and I think players who are still playing absolutely love that they don't have to grind that shit out, and then other players are just sort of like they feel left out in the cold. So I think it's just one or the other. I applaud them for making a change, though, and not going the route that everybody went.
My only point is, without bolstering, it's another case of wait until max level, then the game gets interesting. So.
That is true, but here's the other thing. I was trying to think while you guys were talking, is can any of us name an MMO that had a really good bolstering mechanic that always worked? Because I feel like they're always a nightmare. Like Star Wars, man. They tried how many different brackets they tried, and they thought it was going to be like 1 to 49, and then 50 would be another one, and this, it's like...
What's wrong with just creating a game that is 2 games? What's wrong with creating an engaging leveling experience that's enjoyable and is completely separate from the end game? There are plenty of people out there that I think enjoy, myself. That's why I didn't necessarily find the need to ever progress in Guild Wars, because I got to experience the end game and I was like, fun, I don't really have to waste my time leveling. You can, I think if you can create a fun and engaging leveling experience, yes, there's going to be those players that absolutely don't care about leveling and only care about endgame rating and PvP. But by creating 2 engaging experiences there, you can ultimately serve the better purpose of the game by just acknowledging the fact that there are 2 different aspects of the game.
Anybody agree? Disagree? Nobody wants to go for it. Nobody wants to go for it. Everybody's like, I'm out. I'm punching out of this.
I see what he's saying. I guess my thought is more of that you should have a game with virtually no leveling. But that's a way to go as well. And that's sort of like, that's kind of like the end game experience.
I think
like EverQuest, but not really.
Yeah, well, yeah, or PlanetSide 2 was almost the other one I was thinking of. But yeah.
And I think going back to what you said, Shaft, about I totally fucking forgot what you said. I don't know.
You said a lot today. It's very chatty. May hasn't arrived yet.
Shutterstock.com. We love the Shutterstock. Thanks so much for Shutterstock for supporting This Week in MMO and the other shows right here on the Game Breaker Network. Love having sponsors that we absolutely use regularly on a daily basis, and Shutterstock is a company we use constantly. If you guys need stock photography, illustrations, vectors, video clips, icons, whatever you need for to make your website look better, your creative project, maybe you're working on YouTube videos, you need that YouTube banner, you gotta get that thing looking good. I'm telling you right now, go check out Shutterstock. They have thousands and thousands of artists up here supplying you with all kinds of great artwork, photography, anything you need. So some of the Game Breaker Nation stuff we've been looking through, just been like, capturing stuff. Sometimes let's look at a different light box. I just like make light boxes sometimes for different things. Let me see what I got. That's the Game Breaker Nation one. Here's a good one. So when we were working on the EQ Next website, we needed to just do signs, right? And these were for the website, and we kind of wanted, like when you gotta have like a banner or something across the site, and you kind of want to have like a little like plaque or a sign maybe hanging from something. There's no way we were gonna
pub or an inn.
Yeah, there was no way we were gonna sit and make that stuff. Instantly, just go over to Shutterstock.com, start searching for stuff, and found all kinds of like cool little things like this, and it's perfect. It comes in as a vector format. You open it up in Illustrator, so it's got transparency on it. It's already built for you. You throw your text on top of this and kind of use this at the top of your website where it breaks the edge of the monitor, and boom, you've got like an awesome looking sign. Find the right font that kind of works with this wood and all that stuff, and you're good to go. There really is just countless. I mean, here's a more serious of one. You want something that looks a little bit more hardcore, coming down with the chains from the top of your website. You put your guild logo on there or something. Boom. So much better than probably what you got right now. Want to save you guys 25% off. All you got to do is go make an account on Shutterstock.com, and you can make a free account right now. You don't need a credit card or anything. Start looking through all the artwork and vectors and video clips and saving stuff to lightboxes. And when you are ready, there is a level of service that meets every budget. And I want to save you guys 25% off. All you got to do is use promo code GameBreaker10. Just make sure to use that promo code when you're checking out, and you will immediately save 25% off. Shutterstock. He loves the Shutterstocks. All right, so you guys are talking about Landmark. EverQuest Next got brought up. Let's talk about the Landmark. Seems like all we're talking about right now. The two big games that we're all waiting for, Elder Scrolls Online, EverQuest. So, Landmark fans. What's that, Jason?
Screw WildStar.
Yeah.
Nobody
we got a
wants
whole nother show. We got a whole show for that, so... Landmark fans, you may actually get this game this year, possibly. We don't know yet, but Dave Georgeson confirmed on Twitter that they would be announcing the date for the beta in the next month or so, which I suppose technically could be an announcement of a 2014 beta.
Unless it's a Christmas beta. Didn't they promise us this Landmark? And granted, I know we haven't heard yet, but didn't they promise us the Landmark would be coming to us this year? So maybe it's an
How do we
announcement
covered this last week. What was the wording they used? We had the exact wording.
Smedley said that like back in January, but then at Fanfare, Georgeson said this winter.
This winter. That's what he said. This winter. So they could push over into 2014. I hope not. I hope this is not going to be an announcement of the beta. Hopefully not. I don't know. What do you guys think if you got to throw your hat on? Do you think it's going to be an announcement of the beta?
An announcement of the beta, which we think is like a beta of the...
It totally... Well, that's actually a question. Do you consider...
Betaception.
Well, no. That's actually a really good and interesting thing. So, like, when I saw this, a lot of people said the same thing you did, Jason, and kind of they were looking at Landmark as the beta. But did you guys not think that Landmark would actually be betaed as well? Because I did.
Yes.
I did not see. I didn't see Landmark going into a beta because to me
Really?
it was a sandbox anyway. So it was like, let's just throw it out there. Everybody can start playing with it, and we'll fix bugs as we go. Because it's not
had a beta though.
Yeah. Well. Yeah. Okay. But it also had not Sony Online building it.
What gave you that perception, though?
or-
What gave you the perception that Landmark was the beta?
Just the date, the timing of SOE Live, and the announcement of we're going to see it this winter. It was like, well, if you're going to have what we normally would consider an MMO beta period, it needs to come out tomorrow based on that announcement to fit the timeline. So it does surprise me a little bit that we'll be seeing a Landmark beta.
Plus the way he was talking about adding stuff like later, like adding the combat later, it makes it sound like something you throw it out there, and then later we'll add this, and later we'll add that. So it's almost like a long beta process in the real release.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, because I guess why I always thought there would be a beta is that especially when they announced it, they sort of said like, we're releasing not one game but two games, and they were very clear to try and keep separating these two. And it didn't really ever sound to me like, oh well, when EverQuest Next comes along, we're just gonna like stop EverQuest Landmark. So that it wasn't like they never
Right.
pitched it in a sense of like, hey, this is like our PGR, this is like our
I
public
think
test
that-
realm or something.
I think that the way we keep hearing about the similarities, we've even convinced ourselves that Landmark is the beta for Next. Thus, we kind of approached it as that such, and maybe have been, publicizing about that. And that's because I think I agree with what you're saying there, Gary. They've made the very big distinction of separating the two. We've kind of taken it upon ourselves to marry the two because they sound so similar, and we kind of took the stance of saying that since Landmark is the beta to Next, it didn't make sense to potentially look and think that, like, oh, well, maybe Landmark is going to have a beta as well.
Well, I guess we're gonna have to wait and see.
Do we still have that feeling that like Landmark is for our lack of a better word, a beta for Next?
I
Because
don't.
I don't think I've ever really subscribed to that theory. I don't know. I know, Jason, you brought it up a couple shows ago as a potential, well, it could be looked at like this. Do you still feel that way weeks later now?
It seems like every week they release something else that makes it sound like it is totally separate, so I'm kind of wavering a little bit on it. But it just until you get into it and have an idea of what you're going to do with it, I really can't say for sure.
So last week we talked about winter technically being counting in as early 2014. I don't know. Does beta this year and release next year seem realistic to you guys, or do you guys think that the announcement will be beta's coming in 2014?
If you're going to announce a date for the beta, you'd think it wouldn't be that far ahead, like less than a month out.
I'll give you that. We're announcing a beta fall of 2014. There's your announcement. Bye. That would suck.
Well, to be fair, Square Enix did announce the beta for the PS4 Final Fantasy XIV already, and that doesn't start till February.
But did they come out and say it'll be out this winter, and then come out and say,
That's
we're
true,
announcing
yeah.
the beta? We gave you something. Congratulations. We're moving
That's true.
on. That's a little shady.
I would hope that it's going to be out before the end of the year. The beta launched, but I'll go just to be a contrarian. I'll say that we'll have an announcement this year for a beta at the beginning of next year. Just to totally be contrarian to everybody else.
I hate to be the dad. I'm going to agree with you. I think it's going to be an announcement of the beta coming in 2014. Well, we'll have to wait and see. We'll just have more and more stuff that they can throw at us in the next couple of weeks to kind of chew on and be confused about. So here we go. CCP have no time for the PC gaming master race. So Rock Paper Shotgun got some hands-on time with CCP's EVE Valkyrie. It's a dogfighting game in the EVE universe. I think it's actually the thing I got to play at E3. I must have.
With
Oculus
right?
Rift. Yeah, I think that was Valkyrie. Yeah, I think it was. Yeah, I got to play this as well. So what's interesting is, and I kind of thought this then, is that CCP are apparently not willing to commit that it's on PC, which is kind of interesting and weird. I don't know what's going on here, but Dust not coming to PC.
They want to make another Dust.
Now Valkyrie. I don't know. What do you guys think is going on? I mean, it seems like
This is wrong. This is wrong on so many levels. I mean, I don't know why they're not taking. I don't know why they're not taking a clue from Dust. And again, like I believe even CCP has stepped out and said that Dust is not meeting their expectations, and they have no plan on supporting it into the PlayStation 4. So it's gonna die with the PlayStation 3. Why would you not take this big hint that your player base is clearly on the PC? People have been saying it for a while that they would play Dust if it was on the PC. Why would you not? Why would you take another step to hurt your following like that?
I'm guessing possible contractual agreements. I'm guessing there might be things in the back with Sony and PS3 and Dust, and I'm wondering if it's more of that. Doesn't make sense to me.
I think they want to just break out from being considered a niche product, because It's interesting to know David Reed is the guy who gave the interview. He's the same guy who, a few months ago when they were doing the Dust interview, they said, there's like tens of millions of players on the PlayStation 4, and we're gonna get all of them, or something like that. It's like the
Break
same
out
guy.
of being niche from on the PC. You can break out of being a niche game on the PC still.
Sure.
You don't have to jump to a whole new console.
But I think this is, I don't know, it just seems like it's some of the mentality they have. They're just aiming for that big console crowd, which is, admittedly, it is a lot bigger than the PC gaming crowd, the console.
Sure, and it's enticing, but
yeah. Well, yeah, I know, but
the
all you
flip
see.
side of this is they have not confirmed anything in multiple interviews now.
no,
And
I know their quotes are so
we're
weird.
keeping our options open. You know, for as much as you guys saw it at E3, and like Olivia D. Grace loved it at Gamescom, she played it on the Oculus Rift too, and it's pretty much married to the Oculus Rift in the mind of the public right now. But even that, they've said, well, we're not tied to the Oculus Rift. We could do this other ways if we wanted to. Oh, you mean consoles? Well, it's something we're thinking about. Yeah. Oh,
Well,
you mean
that's-
PC?
So,
Well,
so
it's something we're thinking about too. It's like, well, what are you putting this damn thing out on?
and that's the thing, I guess, when
Game Boy.
people start asking questions and the gamers are reading these like quotes come down, the quotes that they keep throwing out are kind of weird. I mean, the quote was something
Yeah.
like, "It technically works on PC." That's what's the quote. It's like, well, then you're telling the whole PC community who wants something now that you actually have it, but you may not give it to them. You're just like, here, I'll dangle in front of you. F you. I'm not giving it to you. That's sort of what you're saying when you say that to them. Like, that's the way you read it. You're like, oh, it works on the PC. I want it. No, I can't have it. Why? It's hard to say if. Here's my take on it. Also, at least with Valkyrie, it's really hard to say whether it's that good. Like, I got to be honest. Like, even Olivia played it, loved it, but you're in an environment at a conference, and it's the first time ever you've put the Oculus Rift on, which is like a whole other experience, which sells that whole thing in a really big way, and you're kind of taken back by all of that. I couldn't tell you if it was really a good game. I have no idea. Like, you can't. There's no way. Like, you jumped in there, you moved your head around, you were like, holy shit, this is crazy. I can move down. I see my legs. I'm looking around. I see stuff flying around. But is it a really good game? I couldn't tell you. I was floored by the experience more than anything. And it
Right.
felt like just like a big tech demo for like, some really good press. And it seemed cool. Like, I had a lot of fun. It was cool. There might be really a path to go down to develop that thing, but maybe they're just being kind of like wishy-washy with it because they just don't know if it's actually like they probably don't have a full game. I mean, they dump like
Right.
8 people into space and they're like, shoot at each other. Like that's not really a game. They can throw that. I think they even said something like they threw that together in like 3 weeks. So it's probably not that great of a game. That actually flesh that out and turn it into a game, you're talking millions of dollars. Where what everybody's played of Valkyrie is like a 3-week project, probably by a small strike team. It's, I don't know. CCP are
CCP
confusing.
strike team.
They're just so confusing. I don't know. What's going on with
Gamescom's
Dust?
coming up in 2 months. Let's put something together. Get the strike team.
I think somebody said that they put it in like a couple weeks, like for
Right.
for the other thing. I don't know, but what's going on with Dust? Like, is anybody playing Dust? Anybody? Do you know anybody playing Dust?
Yes, but I don't know anyone. People are playing it, and Vern, you were nodding your head when I was saying this. CCP kind of came out and pretty much said that they don't look at Dust as a success at all, and they're not going to continue to support it after a while.
But
The
didn't
best
Highmark-
part. The best
Wait,
part of
really?
that interview was like
I
the
missed
best
this.
part of that interview was when he said, I forget who it was. I will have to look it up. When he said, "We're used to games though that have a slow burn." I mean,
Yeah,
we
that
started
was
with
Highmark. That was
it?
yeah.
We started with EVE and it only had 10,000 people, and now 10 years later it's at 500,000. So we're used to games that take a while. And I was like, really, you can't afford to do that now. You really can't afford to do this. So yeah, I mean, even they've acknowledged it's not.
How do you have
doing
a,
as
also,
well as
hey
they
Vern, I
thought.
got a question for you. How do you have a slow burn if you can no longer play the game with current technology?
Exactly, right? That was another big piece of that is we're not moving to PS4. Okay, and you and I talked about this on After Dark, which means at
Oh,
the
they're
end of
not. I
December-
missed that one. They're
No.
done.
Yeah,
that's
we
done.
talked about this
That
on
is
After
done.
Dark,
Rude.
which meant November 15th the PS4 came out. You got a clock on the PS3 at that point that's about 7 to 9 months before they stop production of it, and you're done. You don't have an option at that point. So yeah, fun stuff.
hope they put it out on PC. I like what Dust could possibly be, and I think they could actually do something with it. It looks like it could be really fun. I wish it was on the PC, tied into EVE, like with that whole crowd.
I've only played it once, and it was really early beta, so my opinion on the game itself really doesn't matter. But from the friends that I have that have sunk a little more time into it than I have, to them it's a mediocre shooter that has a little fun hook in it if you're part of the EVE universe.
That's the big problem, right? Like how many?
And that's
how many people
not
in the
what
EVE
the
universe?
console shooters are looking for at all. They're looking for your Call of Duties.
Yeah.
They're looking for your Battlefields. They're not looking for that. And you
But if it was
you can-
targeted at PC gamers and EVE players in general, I bet you a lot of EVE players who are currently playing EVE would have bought it and jumped back and forth between being in space and being on the ground and played both games, and then you would have tapped into that pretty large player base that EVE
But
Online
again,
has.
I bet it was a numbers thing. I bet some numbers came and said, well, there's 20 million people play Call of Duty. We got to get that crowd. There's 20 million potential people there. Just like, people like there's 12 million people who play World of Warcraft or 7 million. We can get some of that. We just make an MMO.
If we get 1%, use that line. If we can just get 1%.
Right?
All right, I'm going to move on.
1%.
DC of 12 million, we're set. DC Universal Online is going to see a graphical update for the launch of the PS4. All right, SOE embracing the PS4. Kudos. Anybody?
Considering there's Sony, who could figure?
Thank God. Hey, it still costs. They could still not put the money behind it just because the potential part of the company owns the PS4.
Yeah, I'm sure
Any
Sony, the
idea?
parent company, was like, "Thank you for embracing the product we're making. That's nice of you."
I'm trying to look. I'm trying to look through here on our show notes. Do we have any idea like when they are going to plan on making this upgrade? Is this going to be for launch or how far after the PS4 launches? Do we know
mentioned
it?
it in the article.
Did they mention that? I'd love to know that because now that I'm getting a PS4 and I don't have one game that I want to play on launch, I don't know what I'm going to do with it. And maybe DCO might
the
be
same
it.
way.
I don't even know what I'm going to
push
do with
that
it, but I can't cancel it. Like for some reation I can't cancel it. Watch Dogs got
Right.
delayed and I'm like, there's nothing else coming out the day it launches that I want to play.
Yup.
I'm going to get a PS4.
Same
I'm
boat.
going to be like, wow, that's a beautiful looking piece of box. That's some nice plastic.
That's exactly what I'm
Same
going
boat.
I wish I could play something on it. Now that's why I'm like, ooh, can I play DC Universe Online? I don't necessarily want to play DC Universe Online, but if it's on the PS4 the day of the launch, I'll play DC Universe Online.
If you had an Xbox One, you could like watch sports and The Price is Right and make Skype calls.
Nice.
I might do that. I was going to do that. So then I sat down and I looked at the PS4 launch titles and I was like, okay, now maybe I'm going to cancel my PS4. So let me go look at the Xbox One launch titles. And I went and looked at those and I was like, there's nothing there I want to play either. I'm just a goddamn PC gamer and that's it. It's over with. And I even said, like, maybe I should just cancel and not buy consoles ever again because I
There are
know
no
that-
launch titles
Anybody
for PC.
asking, do launch titles make a difference? Gary
They do!
just answered the question because it was going to be a deciding factor for you for a minute.
I am playing my PS3 more right now than almost ever. Just crazy. It's gone its way out. I'm playing Rocksmith, which is amazing. If any of you want to learn how to play guitar, it is freaking unbelievable. Like I haven't picked up a guitar in about 10 years, but holy crap, it's an amazing tool. And I finally picked up Beyond, which I just like loaded, watched the opening scene, and started moving, which seems interesting. But yeah, I don't know. Is there any good game on the PS4?
Not at launch. It's going to be
I'm not
one of
talking
those
about MMOs
times.
anymore. I'm talking about consoles. This week in consoles. Let's go.
Well, and the problem is there isn't going to be anything really good at launch, and that is unfortunate. I've suffered from the same exact thing that you did. But that being said, there will be obviously there's going to be great reason to have it down the road. Now you got to ask yourself though, because my roommate was almost going to purchase a PlayStation 4, but he's like, nah, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to wait for the second generation because the first one always has a lot of bugs. And now I'm like,
I'm not
you got
going.
such a really good point. Maybe I
I'm
should
not
wait.
going. I'm not going down that route. That's like another year or so off. Forget that. That's crazy. The other
How
question
about the
is,
MMOs?
well, here's the big question on a PC side, right? On a PC gamer side, is that most of the games that I do like to play on a console do come out on the PC. Just they're always delayed. And what I'm wondering is, are we going to see that speed up at this point and start seeing more PC launch titles? Because apparently, the PS4 is a lot closer to just a hyped up PC than anything. So
Maybe.
a developer is going to have a lot easier of a time getting these games out on PC because then I really have no need for a console whatsoever.
It'll be that way for maybe a year, maybe 2, and then PCs are going to get you back in the position where they're in now, and it's going to happen all over again.
You really think so?
It's the nature of technology. That's why PC gamers exist, and that's why people invest in really good PCs, is because you can upgrade them slowly over time. We talked about, again, on After Dark, how consoles are the perfect market for the mom and pop, for the teenager, or the person who doesn't want to deal with the upkeep of, is my video card working? Why did I blue screen? All of the really crappy things that happen. A console is like,
Why did I red
purchase,
ring?
boom, done. I can buy a game and I know it's going to play. And because of that, at some point, games are going to get throttled. Now, it might catch up. Consoles, as you said, Gary, the PlayStation 4 is closer to what the PC is now. But let's not kid ourselves. In 2-3 years, the PC is again going to be so far developed that it's going to get out of control again.
See, I just look at it from a programmer's standpoint, and yeah, you're right. I mean, after a year or so, the hardware throttle is way up on the PC. But looking at it from a programming standpoint, the Xbox One and the PS4 offer platforms that, from sheer programming, not hardware, but programming alone, are more similar to PCs than consoles have ever been. And historically, it's been program your game for the Xbox One port or the Xbox 360, and then build your ports for everything else from there, because that's the model that made the most sense if you were multi-console and PC. With all the consoles being that close to a PC, I think from a programming standpoint, that port time gets significantly smaller. I actually think that, yes, Gary, the time in between console launch and PC launch is going to decrease a little bit. It's still going to be there, but I think it's not going to be the 3 to 6 weeks that we're used to in most cases now. I think it's going to be more 1 to 3 weeks. But that's just me guessing from a programming standpoint.
Wishful thinking.
Yeah, maybe that too.
Today's the day of the chat room. I'm gonna ask chat room. 1, if you're only a PC gamer. 2, if you're a PC/console player. I know you're all PC gamers. So, but if you do both, throw up 2s. I want to know. Maybe, I don't know. PC is so much better. Let's just be honest. If you're a nerd and you can keep up on your computer, it's so much better. So far it looks to be, I'd say about, no, that's
60,
not a
40.
mix. 60-40? 70-30?
I don't have my glasses on. I just see it scrolling.
Yeah, maybe
There's a
70.
decent number of 2s in there. Yeah, like 70-30 maybe. 70% PC, 20%, 30%.
The crazy thing about 70-30, that's what's known as a mix.
All right, so anyway, for PS4
That's
owners,
what's known as a close game.
it is DC Universe Online is going to be upgrading for the PS4, which I imagine is for all the 2s in the chat room who are going to be buying PS4 is at least you got an MMO to try out.
And it is free to play, so.
Yeah, I was just going to say, like, Burn, you were saying you're in the same boat. You don't have something to play, but you're going to get a PS4 on launch. Is this going to make you try DC Universe Online? Because it's probably going to make me jump back in. No? No.
I bought DCUO at launch for the PC, and then a couple weeks later got it for the PS3. Yes, it's nice that they're doing a graphical update, but keep in mind the PC is going to be on one set of servers, and the PS4 and PS3 are sharing servers. So there's still the technological limitation of it has to be able to be handled on the PlayStation 3. So even though I've got this awesome PS4, since I share servers with PS3 players, it's got to be able to perform on both. So the graphics will look a little nicer, but I'm not expecting like mind-blowing improvements.
They're probably going to bring them up to like the PC, spec, I would believe. Like I'm sure it's probably going to be like to that level because there's some like jaggy and artifact like jaggies and stuff in the PS3 version.
And if you have before and after pictures, and that's exactly what it is. It's not a full graphic engine overhaul. It's fix the jaggies, deepen the color a little bit. That's what they're going after here.
Technical term, jaggies.
Yes,
fix the jaggies, darken the color, deepen the color. Here's another question for you guys. I'm leaving Jason out because are you getting a PS4? You don't seem like clearly like you're a PC guy.
I put a 1. I put a 1 in the box.
All right, that's what I kind of thought. Elder Scrolls Online. You gonna go PS4? You gonna go PC? You gonna go both?
I'm going both.
I'm going both as well because I just got to see the difference between how they play so we could talk about it. But
Well, that and for the same
really,
reason that I do Final Fantasy 14 on both. Sometimes I just like to chill on the couch and play.
How's that feeling these days? You still doing it a lot?
Yeah.
Shaft, what are you gonna go? Elder Scrolls Online, both PC only, PS4 only.
Part of me wants to try it on console because it's built off of console game kind of hype. But at the same time, God, I don't know. Gary, you and I played at E3, and it's hard to think of if that would or would not translate well to a controller. My experience with MMOs and controllers with Final Fantasy XIV was awful.
Yeah, I mean,
Just
some of the
awful.
Some of the menus and stuff seem like they would be. I don't know how they do like sort of the hotbar scenario with like modifiers and stuff like that, but the menus were very Skyrim-esque, which are fine on console.
And you've only got six. You've only got 6 buttons, 6 powers, as opposed to what like a couple bars worth in 14. So I mean, that's sort of thing you can map over to the controller.
I mean, what's the sense you get? I almost get the sense that they're making an MMO, but they're probably thinking of the PS4 even before a PC. My guess would be that they have to make that right.
Their market is the MMO fan. Don't get me wrong. They're trying to create an MMO here. But their fan base is a console fan base. And they need to market towards that and secure their goodwill in order to be successful.
God, then you got Steambox coming into the mix. I forgot about that. People in the chat room are talking about that. I mean, I don't know why anybody in this show, watching this show would buy a Steam box though. I'm confused by that. Like they're going to release, here's the thing, they're going to release the OS, they're going to release the operating system, which I may absolutely definitely have a machine with the Steam OS on it just for that reason, because for stability and kind of things working correctly, because it's going to be created by them. But I don't know why. You guys all know what Steambox is doing, how they're basically just putting out tech specs and then other companies can build boxes and you just go buy the box. Yep. I don't know why PC gamers would really do that. And I'm not totally sure who that's even aimed at. Like, what market is buying a Steam box?
People who maybe are into consoles, like you said, like the simplicity of it, but they see all the cool games on Steam, or PC games.
But then the problem is what happens when they're like, oh, I want to play that game. I'm gonna go buy a Steam box from that company because they're making it for me. And then 6 months later, I'm like, oh, that game's really cool. Damn it, my Steam box doesn't work for that game. You're screwed.
I don't know. Yeah, I'm trying to think of like what, are kids going to be like, Mommy, I want a Steam box for Christmas? Like, is that what you're going to ask for?
Then you're really going to get in trouble. My grandmother bought me Tony Hawk's Pro Skater thinking, like, she did all this research. She was like, I want to get Michael a Christmas present. So she got me Tony Hawk's Pro Skater for PlayStation 2. Didn't even know that you needed a PlayStation in order to play it. So ultimately, my parents had to rectify the situation by getting a PlayStation 2 for my whole entire family, and that's the story of how I got a PlayStation. But the problem
you made out. See, that was a good scenario.
I did.
Grandma!
But the problem is you're going to have that issue where you're like, Mom, I want a Steam box. And then Mom's going to go buy a Steam box, and it's going to be the wrong flipping one. And then you're going to be
can't buy the wrong one. You can't really buy the wrong Steam box, though, can you?
If you can, if it doesn't have the tech specs that you need to play a specific game.
Are they going to change, though? I don't know if that's all. Isn't that the whole thing with the Steam box? They're going to be different levels of the Steam box? I thought it was going to be like, here are the tech specs, and it's like everybody just can go build them, but I thought it was kind of, I don't know. Maybe they can just upgrade stuff as they please, but...
Well, why would you pick one over another?
That's what I'm saying, like price point. Like if a company of Dell can make one cheaper than, or Newegg can make one cheaper than Dell. But I think they have to adhere to kind of like the Android platform with the cell phone. It's kind of like, they sort of say like, hey, HTC and all you other people make Android phones, but here is the technical documents that you have to adhere to make all this shit work. I think that's really the gist of the Steam box. So I don't know if you could buy the wrong one. But yeah, I mean, well, you're going to run into the same problem as games progress. The Steam games start getting better and better. Your Steam box is going to get outdated, I guess, just like a console. And yeah, that's going to be weird when you find out that day that you load up a Steam game. You're like, why is it running at 2 frames per second? Because with a console, they just stop working. Like they're just like, oh, new console, gotta buy new games.
Well, but the thing is, and the thing is, PlayStation is what 6-7 years old at this point. I could go back and load the very first PlayStation 3 game ever made, and guess what? It's still gonna work just fine. So
That's it. Screw consoles and Steam Box and all this shit. Just become PC gamers. We're just PC,
PC
gamers.
Master
It's
Race.
done. PC Master Race. You said it on Loud and After Dark. It's done. It's done. Who am I kidding? I'm still getting a PS4.
Yeah, you are.
Right.
On
I know.
launch day.
Are you getting an Xbox as well? You gonna buy an Xbox?
Yep.
Yeah.
But you
probably.
know me and
That's
the
ridiculous.
systems.
Can we get a
I can't
picture of
not.
your library of games? I don't think a lot
Yeah,
of
we
people
can
know
do
this
that.
about you. Like right now, no.
No, you're not going to see it now. It's in the dark.
How many games do you own?
A little over 2K ish, right around that mark, give or take.
So you could be known as 2K Games.
Oh, there you go.
Touche,
The
my
gamer
friend.
with 2,000 freaking games. All right.
Yeah, it's like 33 consoles, something like that.
Yeah, we need a picture of that. That's Hey,
I
Sucker,
will
it's PC.
tweet.
Anybody gonna play Battlefield 4?
No, I'm
I
not
hate you all. I hate you
not
all.
one of those guys.
Not a
I hate you
Battlefield fan.
Hate you all. Hate you all. Well, I got the Game Breaker Nation to play with now, so screw all you guys. GameBreakerNation.com. Doors are open. Go sign up. Applications are there. Get on over. Whole bunch of people already in the Game Breaker Nation. I think it's close to 300 people. So it's kind of soft launching it, but there you go. There's the next soft launch. Go over to GameBreakerNation.com, sign up, apply, and you'll get an invite. It is open for business. Just not doing it super hardcore open for business yet. Audible.com. Want to hook you guys up with a free 30-day trial and a free audio book. All you got to do is use the URL audible.com/gamebreaker. Again, love having sponsors on here on Gamebreaker TV that I have been long-time subscribers of. I've been using Audible for years, long before they were ever sponsors here on Gamebreaker. I use them all the time. And this week, I am recommending a classic. You gotta love the classics. And I'm sure you've read the book, but maybe you want to listen to it. That's right, J.R.R. Tolkien's The Hobbit. Let's take a listen.
Of Bilbo Baggins, that is, was the fabulous Belladonna Took, one of the 3 remarkable daughters of the old Took, head of the hobbits who lived across the water, the small river that ran at the foot of the hill. It was often said, in other families, that long ago one of the Took ancestors must have taken a fairy wife. That was, of course, absurd, but certainly there was still something not entirely hobbit-like about them, and once in a while members of the Took clan would go and have adventures. They discreetly disappeared, and the family hushed it up, but the fact remained that the Tooks were not as respectable as the Bagginses, though they were undoubtedly richer.
The
Not
J.R.R.
just Belladonna.
Tolkien classic, The Hobbit, can be yours. Just go on over, make an account. Audible.com/gamebreaker is the URL you are going to want to use. Make an account, download the app to your iOS or Android device. Gonna hook you guys up with a free audio book just by using that URL. Then you sign up, and there's different packages. You can go like 1 book a month, 2 books a month, things like that. They give you tokens each month. You can go in and get a new book. Love the Audible. I'm watching chat room as soon as I bring it up. So many positive remarks in the chat room when I bring up Audible. It's like, love my Audible account. It's great. I listen to it in the car. If I gotta fall asleep, I listen to stuff. I love it. It's great.
You're
Audible.com.
gonna fall asleep while you're in the car.
No, I try not to do that. That would be quite dangerous. But audible.com/gamebreaker. Really quick before I talk about some DayZ stuff, somebody in the chat room had a question about, can I join the Gamebreaker Nation for Battlefield 4? Yes, you've got 1 player at least. So I'd say yes, I'll be playing. So the clown.
You only have 1 player, but that 1 player happens to be Gary Gannon.
Yeah.
Well, and that's good,
Oh,
because with a
yes.
game like Battlefield, you gotta have another player. Otherwise, it is the most excruciating, awful experience you'll ever experience. So you guys can play together and actually enjoy the game. That's
There
why
you go.
Until the team kills you.
Yes, exactly. So not console players. Crap. No console players. We're PC players. PC games outside of the MMO space, yes. We're going to support them. So Battlefield, League of Legends, we're doing Smite, we're doing all kinds of stuff. So if it's on a PC and it's got multiplayer online stuff, you know what we need to do, Shaftnet? I should have said Mike, and then no one would have known. The 2 clowns over here, Mike and Mike.
I don't need face paint to be a clown.
GTA clan. We did Gamebreaker Nation GTA clan.
I'm in it.
Yeah, it's me and you. I know you're in it. It's two
Where-
of us. I'm saying
You got 2 players for that. It's twice as good. As
we
the
need to get
Battlefield
more
one.
people in the GBN clan to start jacking people and stealing cars. Let's do it. So even games like that, GTA, all that kind of stuff. I guess if it is on a console, screw it. We'll cover it because I'm playing GTA on my PS3 and I'm not stopping. I'm telling you right now.
So basically, the rules have now become: if Gary plays it, yes, go ahead
Yes.
and sign up.
Yes. If it's got an
Doesn't
online
matter what
component
you're
for it and there's
playing it
gamers
on,
to
just
play it,
sign
we're going to
up.
support it. That's the way I look at it. If there's people to play it, it's online, we're doing it. All right, DayZ. You guys remember DayZ? I wouldn't blame you if you didn't. It's been a while. Where is Rocket? Where are you, Rocket? Hit me up. I got to hit up Dean, see what the hell he's doing. It's been quite a while since we've talked to him. It's been pretty silent from Dean and the crew. But I guess I'll ask him. Early access has been spotted on Steam. Are you guys interested? Do you care? I actually am.
I do, yeah. And then it's strange. I liked DayZ, the
Jason, do you like
add-on.
DayZ?
Yes, I do.
What?
No,
I'm
but we can't
genuinely-
talk about it on the show. It's not massive enough for Burn.
No, I'm genuinely like intrigued. I didn't peg you for a DayZ person. And I'm not being even like joking around. I just didn't.
I haven't played it because I didn't want to. I don't like the buggy kind of armor version of it, but I'm really
Yeah.
anxious to try the real standalone. The problem with this is it's like, they said it was going to come out end of last year.
It's been a
Then
really
we thought there was
long
going to be something
time.
coming out like around middle of this year. And now Dean is like, yeah, it's almost ready. And I'm like, okay.
There's obviously
fun.
some things going on there that we don't know about. Yeah, it's been pushed off a really long time. I don't know. Joystick contacted Dean, who confirmed that he said progress is going well. And he says they're in the final lap and they're 100% focused on releasing the alpha. I guess another game going the early access alpha route. I don't know. I'm excited. I want to play DayZ in a better package without hackers.
Now that's a shooter that I'll play with you. Can I join the GBN now?
You play DayZ as well?
Yeah.
How does this happen? I don't understand. So MMOs, you
Okay,
guys
okay.
hate PvP. Bird hates PvP though. He hates it, and that's all DayZ is.
And if you hate PvP, then I'm a little surprised by it. But I'll say now that the whole hardcore permadeath thing that I'm not a fan of only applies if you spend like 53 hours grinding for your gear and then can lose it to someone.
So if you
That doesn't
log
happen
in
DayZ.
and you just get shot in the face and you die, and you got to relog back, relog and
Sure.
that's fine.
He's fine
Yeah.
with that.
So
Okay.
Burns or Jason's basically saying he's the type of DayZ player that gets killed in the first hour, not the type of DayZ player that survives and finds a tank and then spends 3 days on one life.
I've never been killed in DayZ.
Apparently, Jason has never played DayZ. Because if you've never been killed in DayZ, you are not a DayZ player. I think Backman, well, you always have like those MMO stories, and you have those gamer stories where you'll just tell for years and like you kind of remember them. My first
Right.
night ever in DayZ
I
is
still
one of
remember
those
your
nights.
first night. I remember your
Oh.
story. So yeah.
No, how would you? I don't think we
Well, you
streamed
told
it.
it on one of these shows.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it would say it's one of those experiences like when you're dropped into this world, it's pitch black. I had one other buddy who I was playing with. He gets dropped into a completely different part of the world, and we spent the next hour and a half just trying to find each other. Like that's all we did. And it was like one of the greatest nights ever. And it was like, this game is epic. I love it. All right. Last up this week, 64-year-old woman destroys a virtual sword worth 28,000 real-world dollars in Lineage and tries to sue the company. LOL. I thought my dog had a bad week with fracturing a toe. Apparently, things are much worse. The court pretty much said it was user error. NCSoft doesn't have to do shit. GG. She really
Same
tried to
guy
sue
who found
NCSoft.
the $30,000 item in the other game. 'Cause that would be great. Last one.
Oh wow! Talk about hitting the lottery. This is hilarious though. Yeah, so she had a virtual sword that was uber rare. Apparently, was worth something close to $28,000 in real life money if she wanted to sell it to another player.
Yep.
What was the specifics? What did she do? Like how did she destroy it?
She attempted to enchant it, And she even purchased items to increase the likelihood of a successful enchant on this super, super awesome item. So it was like, let's try to make it just slightly more awesome. Well, the enchant, she failed the random number check, and boom, her materials were destroyed, including this sword worth
That is freaking hilarious. That is hilarious. Chatham has a really good comment. I agree. If all courts ended with GG.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
Could you imagine? GG. Burn, I'm going to make a requirement now that you wear face paint every episode ever.
Well, now I got to figure out what to do for XIV Reborn and After Dark Tuesday. I'm going to get to the drawing board figuring that one out.
I'm scared. Mike Shaftnit, follow him on Twitter at Mike Shaftnit. And of course, watch League of Legends Waypoint. It is at youtube.com/LOL Nation TV. LOL Nation TV. Blowing up the League of Legends.
Give me to that 85,000 views and I can be excited and die happy.
Come on, we're close. He's close. So the most he's ever gotten of views on YouTube was 85,000, and this is at like, what is this at right now? Like 82 something, 83.
I think it's almost at 84, so it needs about 1,000.
All right, so we need a few thousand more. So go watch it. LOL Nation TV. You should be watching it anyway. It's a freaking great show. It's the best League of Legends show on the internet. True story. I'm not just hyping it. Michael Byrne. Follow me on Twitter, Magic Man, MIGICKMANN1, and of course watch XIV Reborn. Right here, owns the Game Breakers. Always a pleasure, sir. Jason Winter, Daisy player of No Deaths. Follow him on Twitter at Winter Informal. Elite Gamer. He's been logged into Daisy since day one and he's never died. Follow him on Twitter at Winter Informal. And right here on TWIMMO. You can follow me at Gary Gannon, follow Game Breaker TV, Game Breaker TV. Be sure to tune into the GBN cast, which is our Game Breaker Nation podcast show thingamajigger, coming up right next live right after this show on Fridays. So we do TWIMMO at 3, GBN cast at 4. Show up for those. And like I said, go sign up for the Game Breaker Nation, the Cross Gaming Guild. We support all online games. Go on over to GameBreakerNation.com. There's an application you can fill out and you'll be brought into the guild, whatever game you want. Multiple games. Guild Wars 2, Star Wars The Old Republic, World of Warcraft, Battlefield, League of Legends, Smite, you name it. And there's also a calendar. Go check out the upcoming events. We've got a bunch of events lined up and more we'll be adding. And last thing I'll tell you guys about is the Twitch stream, the stream team. We got a separate Twitch channel just for the stream team. It's at twitch.tv/GBNation. So go favorite that one and follow it. We'll be getting that calendar built out as well for the Game Breaker Nation stream team. So thanks so much for watching this week in MMO. We will be back next week. Have a great weekend. We love you all. Thanks for watching and goodbye.